Wegwe sago, na iongwe, na gadiwa na nigiwahe, na deyatkona guarado, deyatkona guarado, deyatkona guarado, na tajikwaya diso na akso. Gadiwa na nigiwahe, na nyawa iski yoga nyawa. Na gadiwa na nigiwahe na guashoko na guashota na dada na nigiwahe. Na yonki sota ogmo na nigiwahe. Today's teaching will come from the ancient times, a time when the sacredness of earth and fire come together. We had a time when the sacredness of what we call the sacred Awanawa. The Awanawa is a sacredness of stone and tree, and it comes together to give us sacred teaching of life. And when we first received the Awanawa, it was a time of creation when Mother was giving birth. And one of the gifts that came from that great birthing of twins, she also gave birth to a woman that was sacred on the land and would give all the healing for the life that existed on Turtle Island and Mother Earth. So it's very important to understand at that time that there were great gifts that came with her as she came from the sky world. Garohiaga is what we call that peaceful place where everything is still good. Everything is still pure as a newborn babe. Now, that is the purest that we have here, as the water in the wampum is pure also. So at this time, she gave the sacredness of bundles of life. So she gave in these bundles the sacred gift of the Awanawa, where fire and tree came together and created the sacredness of pipe. Now there is no ceremony, she instructed, until the two come together. She says all women will be the sacredness of the bowl of life. And that is when she held it in her hand. And she took from all of that a sacred tree, a part of the tree that will go always like this direction, and that it will be instructed to all male life that will carry the sacredness of Awanawa. At this time, when we bring this together, a great smudge, as you see here, must be worked through the sacred bowl and the coming of woman who gave all life on this earth. So she will be washed and her spirit will be strong. And that is why we always say to the eldest woman of life, we give our praise. And that is why we begin with the sacred woman in our words before all else on the earth. We look at our own birth of life. And because of that, we will now do the stem of life, which is the spiritual road of life. And we will cycle that in a great circle, because when she was sharing that with the young son of the earth, she was turning it always in a circle, the sacred cycles of life. And she continued to look at the boys of life and the one that was pure, the one that was very interested in our Onyokwagoa, our medicines. So it is that same child that will come to you and say, I am ready. They will say, I would like to know. Onawatsani, Adalawatsani, I would like to understand at this time. And when that gifted one comes, we will honor it. We will put up a feast for that. Before this will come together as a sacred instrument of life, when the woman and male in life will come together and create new life. It is so sacred that when you turn this, it is to be turned for all sacred men and women that are in ceremony. Because when you marry man and woman, you marry the earth with the sky world and the stars in the universe. It is very important that we understand the teaching When we're honoring, we will always turn this 4 ways, the 4 directions of life, north, south, east, and west. And you will speak through that. You will come from the purest part of your spirit being, your heart, and you will say these sacred words, the kindest words. Yugwantnigohlio is the deepest and most beautiful words you could say to any human being and any part of creation. We will also bring a way of life. We say that skano agahage, skano nuagahage, and skano tadalatonyo, when you will go and walk in that peace and you will live that way. We always say skani naani, because it's out there for everybody that comes and receives it. It is a way of life. Okohuanaha is another way of life when we have all our teachings that are spiritual from the Earth Mother. And the Father of Life also is very important, because our Creator will put a man and woman together in a union, and that respect for both in all ways and manners, shapes, and forms. So it is very, very important that we have a balance to everything we teach and everything we do in our sacredness of words. Because Azatston is a beautiful strength that will come out of those 2 things. And the strength is long life on the earth. And you will serve that long life by doing the goodness of our Mother's heart. You will do that. And we will say that. We are becoming of one heart with our Mother. And that is the most important thing that you will carry in your life, is from your Mother's love. She is the first love on earth for us, spiritual, and all other needs are met at that time. And we are to carry that on, and we are to put that into our children as the great Gahna, the seed of life. We are to put that into our young so they will grow strong and tall, and they will speak truth from their hearts. They will speak words of great peace for all. They will have strength to do these things, these good works, and the greatest mind, which is our Creator and the Mother of Earth and life. So always remember, the pipe is so sacred when we bring that from the bundles. A pipe should always be cared for in all ways of spirituality. It should be respected every day of life. It should be wrapped in medicine and opened up in medicine, as you've seen with the great smudge that was prepared. And as the sacred woman of life standing here before us offered that to you, to wash of anything that troubles you, to wash from any thought that is on your mind that is not in the most pure way. She will wash that away and give you another chance for today to be another day of beauty for all. And we will not only feel that, we will feel so good that we feel like flying with the eagles. The great teacher of life, the one that earned all the eagle feathers to teach life. It is still here. It is still being best practice in our village, in our lodge. This is also referred to as Ganasissa. It is our lodge where we rest and sleep, where we light the sacred medicines, where we love one another each and every day of life. So you see, it's a great work when you walk the road of the pipe sacredly, Awanawa. It has gone north, it has gone south, it has gone west and east. And when we come together, that is a great union of pipe, powerful ceremony for women, man, woman, and child, that we are still here on this earth enjoying all creation. So that's just a little bit of a teaching with Awanawa. And before you can load this with tobacco, it must be washed in cleansing smoke, because it is a sacred instrument that bears the small fire. Nikachila Ajontaka, the small people fire.
Talk about
the sacred bowl.
Thunderstorms.
It's very important as a keeper of the pipe that whenever the grandfathers come, Alatiweras and Garatonis, when they all arrive here, the Halawera Hacho, Tawachikorilikos, the lightning, the rolling thunders, they all come. That is the time to put the pipe together, the Awanawa, and return to the nature of outside lodge. And the trees are your walls to your lodge now, and the sky is your roof of your lodge and your archway. So always remember Mother Earth is supporting your feet beneath all things, and from her grows all life. So with that in mind and heart and spirit, you will go outside and you will turn with the pipe a sacred song for them, the grandfathers. And that is called Swazaza, and that is done right down to the smallest child, because the children pure are what we call the great thunder. And the older ones, we will be the small drum and the smallest of waters.
Now we have a 6-year-old now. Every summer, when a thunderstorm rolls through, the two of them are out on the back deck, dancing through the rain, doing the pipe ceremony. Ugwaks is not afraid of thunder whatsoever. He hears it and he yells, "Lugani, get your pipe. We got to go outside. We got to sing. We got to dance." So it's something that we do every time a storm comes through. If it happens that we're not home, we're in the van, then we'll put a quick smudge together, and David still thanks the thunder beings for coming. No matter where we are, there's always a thank you given for the thunder beings, because without water, there's no life. We need water. Okay. And talking about that, we're going to go into the water drum.
With the sacredness of water, when woman first gave birth to the earth, the roundness and all of the fullness is when the sacredness of woman expands with new life for the 9 months that she carries sacredness through the water, through her great waters. This is what we call Ganajowi. This particular drum is my own personal drum as an elder of the drums. This drum is very important to me because all the ceremonies that we do in life are put through the water, the thunder water. And that water must be caught at that sacredness of Swazaza, and it must be gathered through the sacred bowls in life. And that must be put into our mouth and put to the sacred navel of the drum 3 times. So because of all that, the drum must be taken from here, where we drew our first 3 breaths of life through our mother, and that must be dropped on the top of the drum and then rubbed in circles of life. It's very important practice if you're going to be a drum carrier, or you have a drum and you want to learn proper ways to take care of that drum. The ring at the top represents all the circles in life and universe. It also represents all the cycles of the great ceremonial life for all our peoples. And also the navel, this is a practice of taking care of birth when it comes forth from the waters of the mother. And this represents a reminder to your mind that when the cord is going to be severed with flint, that we will take and we will tie it 3 times with a sacred water stone. We will tie that. And when that is healed and proper, that is when it will be pulled to the earth through the earth mother and the sacred woman. And birth will come forth to the earth. And then we tie it 3 times. So right now, we honor the sacred moose of the north. We don't have a lot of moose here anymore, but there was a time when they were plentiful. But we honor their skin, or Scotnajo, and when we also talk about that stretching of the skin once the water is there, the thunder water. We will stretch that, and the ring will secure it for all ceremonies to come through that new life. So because of that, the bottom part is all from the forest of the sacred trees. The life of all trees, the great chieftain trees down to the small saplings of life, the seedlings. You have to remember we come from a time of the great sequoias, the great aspens, the great redwoods. We had trees 1,000 foot high and greater. Those are the leaders of the tree life. So when I get there, I will pull this out and I will have a drum ceremony for the trees of the forest at that time. And wherever I go, I will take time for that. But these are responsibilities of anybody that keeps a traditional drum. Every day when you smudge your drum. Whenever you have a feast or a meal that the woman has prepared, you make a small plate for the drum. These are practices that are old and ancient, and they are still here because we're still doing them. Just to encourage people, in that is thunder water. That actually came not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And we also got stones that were going toward the great hailstones. And I was trying desperately to catch them with a bowl. And
we got some.
But she's in there, and it's a good thing because now we can practice from the sky to the Earth Mother and fulfill that promise that humans have made for the sacredness of long life. So that's just a little bit, but everything on this earth has drum and a song. And I just want to send a short greeting song for anybody that comes to the lodge.
Talk about the tobacco.
That's very important. And as you can see, the Ayongwayoma, the sacred tobacco offering has been given to the Gunat. And it's to the four directions, the four grandfathers, and in the center there is an offering for the great creator, Diso in our language, and that is to praise the highest of life and teaching. So with that, when we touch a wet drum, it's always important to hold your hand close to the navel, the birthing of life, because you're going to be honoring all of it. So just a reminder that the drum has to be touched 4 times in the 4 directions. So you always start I start in the North Star because it's very sacred to me. So, and the pipe teachings. And then I go around and I go to the west, and then I go to the south, and then I end up in the east, and then I come to the center. And that's where you get your heartbeat with a song. And as you're doing that, your mind is clearing from everything and becoming a pure thought of song and chant again. And there is a song when people come to see us. And I'll just sing the short version because there's always a longer version of life continuing. As you can see, I didn't talk about the little drumstick and how that is created from the tree branch. It's very important to understand the sacredness of woods. They also have their leaders. Our hardwoods are Nagalistaji. They are the hardest wood that we have. Some will strike that and see smoke rise. That's how hard it is. You can touch that with many things, but it will rupture hardness of life, like what we call steel life. When that came, that taught us something about the sacredness of hardwood that we didn't understand yet. But as you make your drumstick, you will always go to the hardwood, because that is man's medicine that is used throughout life. And we will use that medicine for the drum, because that will be our life's eternity. When we leave the earth, our ancestors, our relatives, and our family will take that one stick that we have lived through, and they will put that to the fire when we pass to the west. And we meet the pipe out there, and they give us pipe ceremony, and then we leave to the North Star direction. And they say in that North Star is your great Milky Way and journey to the Sacred Lodge, the great Ganasisa Goa in the sky world. So always remember, always look up. No matter what you're doing, anywhere, anytime, always look above your head and see what is there for you to respect and honor and rejoice with for today. So the stick itself is a direction. And when you point that direction, you sit in the east and you look west when you play the drum. And this right here, this roundness of the drumstick, they say is to represent, again, the navel of newborn child forming. It's forming in a circle to create the strength of that child for this world and life. And this straightness here is when our spirituality is being fulfilled and we are walking in a straight pathway. Straightness. I'm in the east born and I walk to the west. And when I seek all my relations, I look to the north and then I walk to the south. And now I have found my blood lineage. And now I understand the road and path of truth and the knowledge it takes to understand all life and all elders, all women, all children in this world. I am becoming a sacredness of fatherhood, uncle, what we call the sacred uncles, and then the sacred duras, or the sacred elders. When you sit in those circles, it is with great respect from the people that believe in those ways. So this encouragement, if you're ever to understand that more, there are sacred things, sacred people that you can meet that will continue the sacred teaching of life and story of life, never ending, forevermore. I trani tohakana na sekwat ni gula na da ni na gwana ga na dane tro Ginio na gadiowa na sakyokwa sa hakwe na ingweho na nyakyoto na rono. It is time for us to return to the sacredness of home. Our elders always say, we are done this part of the story, so children, let us go home. Sahatandi. And then we're there again. And we will begin a new day together with everybody. I'm trying to remember other things in life that are most important and precious. And my grandfather used to always say that the most precious thing is when you find your sacred partner in life. And then he said another sacred thing at that time that you should take care of is always welcome the people that come to your sacred lodge in the doorway, the opening, before and on their way out. And it is always tradition and ceremony to always enlighten them and share the knowledge so it will live longer. So I gift you with that understanding today, and I pray that you will go to good places with that and share that with others so it may grow today. And I also remember in all of that sunrise is the most powerful time we have. when everything awakens, even creation wakes up for a new day. So we use that word, Wahanasaliya, quite often, and Wanasarada, when it has been fulfilled, it has become true today. So always understand that you always come to the lodge and greet the sacredness of the woman standing at the door. This goes back to a time of Jiganusasa, when she became the mother of all nations. Very sacred time to understand. Every woman understands that spirit of her birth and her life and teachings. So before I get too long-winded, and I can because my grandfathers are four winds, and Gayeri, Yarila, yeah, Ilaki Sota Mo. The grandfathers are always here, and they bring the sacredness of the water. Onega Lunyo, Onega Goa, Onega Sumo. They bring all the waters that we have for today's life and continuation. So with that in heart, mind, and body, spirit, and the strength that I have for today, I send these sharings and greetings to you, all people, all children, all teachers and learners of life. May you share that well, and may you have long life. So be it.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about food is very important for our traditions. We never have a ceremony without food. We make a feast plate, which will consist of everything that's been cooked and prepared, whether it just be the drink. The drink has to be included as well. There's always some form of bannock bread, whether it be fry bread, baked bread, star bread, corn bread. There's always a bread. And we always try and include a wild meat. I've made rice with blueberries and venison in it with maple syrup. Now, right now is the time everybody's preparing the trees for the Wataosis, maple sapping time. David's family has been making maple syrup for over 50 years now. So that's something that is a gift from nature. As much as we can, we cook with what nature provides. It's important that before we even start to eat, a prayer is always said over the food, and thanking the food for the nourishment it gives us, and that we still have it today. And then, like I said, we make the feast plate, and that is put aside for the ancestors to eat from. Most times when we do it, we leave it out overnight, and then in the morning, it'll go outside to the west, and we put it outside, and nature takes care of it. Whether it be squirrels or what animals come to eat it, they get nourishment from it as well. So it's very important that we continue this practice. It's been done for years and years and years. There's so many things that we still do on a daily basis. One is the morning prayer. We always greet the day. We smudge every day as well. Our little 6-year-old, he loves to smudge the first thing as soon as it's lit. My turn, Luggany, and he grabs it right away. So these are practices that he is learning. The same with the pipe ceremony. He knows when there's a thunderstorm, he gets the pipe. David gets the water drum out, and they sing together. We're teaching him to rattle now too. He absolutely loves smoking the pipe with Dad. It's something that is only done when we're doing a ceremony. It's not a pipe that he's going to grab and smoke. It's something that we think is very important for him to learn to grow up with the teachings. He's thriving in it, and that's important. He absolutely loves any of the cooking, whether it be, he knows the difference between ceremonial food and regular food. His favorite is the homemade soups, and it doesn't matter if I make corn soup, he's right there. He absolutely loves food, which is a sustenance that keeps us alive and well. So there's nothing more important to ending a ceremony than the food. That's why you open it up, the ceremony, with the food, and you close it with the food and the prayers, because the ancestors are coming down to feast too. So it's important that we feed the ancestors, not only our physical beings, our spirits, but their spirits as well. And we have had things happen. We have seen the ancestors come down and actually take from it for their spirits. We have left it out on the kitchen table overnight, and we have literally seen some ancestors come and feed from it. So it's an ongoing practice. Some people do it, some people don't. But to us, what little ceremony we do down here, it's multiplied by 1,000 times up high. That they are acknowledging that the ceremonies are still being done. They're happy. We know when they're happy. It's important that we continue on these practices. They've been done for hundreds of years, and there's a reason they're still here, for their strength, for us to keep going, to help us. So I think it's very important to instill this in the next generation, and we're doing our part with Ugwucks to help him along, as well as with the grandchildren. We sing to them, we dance with them, teach them like I said, David is teaching him the water drum. He's actually just made him his own little water drum. So he will be drumming with Daddy, and he knows how to rattle. He's got his dance steps down pretty good for certain songs. So it's very important to continue this so that it doesn't get lost. The language, he is learning really, really well. He can count in the language. He knows his colors. It doesn't matter what David says to him. He knows exactly what he's being asked to do. So I think it's important for everyone that we continue as a nation to continue with these teachings, that they don't stop. And I think David is going to close it off now with a quick little prayer.
Takniga na hata ko hen na sat na go na nga di wa na ni ko na hong do hari wa ko na ko na hatsto. Ga di wa na ni ko he na wa ko skat ji do do wa no ni na wa ni ko na. Tana de ya ti na wa ra do na ni ko wa en ga di wa na ni ke wa he na ni ki ni sto ha ji hong ja da na ni ko ha yon ki sot na santa na ka ga kwa na yon ki sot na ni ko wa he. Na ga di wa na ni ko wa he na ta ka no wi ta na Aia wata na ni ki wahena na wayan tarona na dana la te kani o ke haka ya ke to da na rona na ni ki wahena sa ta hoshi na na kani kali wissa na ni ki wahe ona wat sani adala wat sani na na ka kioko sa sa hakwe ko na ni yon ko na ni ki wahe na ka hashani ko ka hashu na ka hashona na ni ki wahe na ka dino na ni ki wahi na ka yana la ko na skani ake na ke wahe na skani ani na ka sa stonsora na ka di on na ke wahe ne yon kwa ne ko rio na ke wahe ona wat sani ada wat sani na ke wahe na nasi ali wa na ke wahe na ka di on na ke wahe na ka di on na di skara wa ke na ke wahe tana chakatawi sa suwa na ke wahe tana adek sa hago na ke wahe na kiniatara go na ki wahe na wira na wira ya na ki wahe na ka ki kwa sai sa ha kwa go na I on go ho nya ki to da na ro na ki wahe I tra nya ta ha na wa ni ku la ta ni no go wa na ke na da na tra na hai 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 na Satane kone, satane kone, satane kone, satane kone, satane kone, satane kone, kanadara owa, kanadara owa, kanadara owa, yot what the wet no